I'm going to do some quick Teff Flour pancakes. These pancakes can be used to use as a wrap, you know, to load in whatever you want, all your vegetables. If you want to throw some chick balls in there, you can. You can put a little hummus with some vegetables, wrap it up. It's a wonderful thing instead of bread to use, because you know you want to cut down your yeast a little bit. Yeast definitely messes up the intestinal tract. So you want to try to get away from yeast containing products like bread, crackers, things like that. So you know, making your own breads and making your own wraps is a great way to reduce the amount of yeast. And also you get to use these wonderful flours. This is, oh gosh, I just love this. It's so soft and beautiful. It's this, teff is a grain, it's a whole grain. It's one of the smallest grains. It's got tons of iron and tons of protein. And look, it's just so beautiful. It's so soft, you know, really, really soft. So I'm going to put a cup of that in there. So 1 cup of Teff flour to 1.5 cups of water. It's pretty thin because we're going to be making these pancakes, and the pancakes are going to be nice and thin so that we can wrap them and roll them. It's so, look at it, look, just look. It's just so soft, you know, beautiful. It's just gorgeous. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of salt. I use the pink Himalayan. And I'm going to do 1/3 of a teaspoon. 1/3 of a teaspoon of Himalayan salt. Once that's mixed in, we're going to go over to the stove and I'll show you how to do the pancakes. Okay, we're going to cook the Teff flour pancakes. I'm going to use my cast iron. Cast iron is the best thing to use for cooking. Cast iron or stainless steel, those are my 2 choices that I always cook in. The non-stick pans that you see are very caustic. You know, those are made with Teflon and other chemicals that when heated up give off a very harmful gas. I don't want my food cooked in that. I'd rather have it cooked in a cast iron, so when my food is cooked in this, maybe it'll get some extra iron. Iron is always good to have. So that's an advantage. Also, these are extremely inexpensive and they last forever. This actual pan is over 100 years old. It was my mother-in-law's mother's. So, and I still use it and I love it. And it's one of the main things that I use to cook. When I do cook with cast iron, you do want to heat it up gradually. You see, I have the heat on very low to begin with. And then as it heats up, I can turn that heat up. I am going to use some oil in the bottom of that pan. I don't want the pancake to stick. I'm using extra virgin olive oil that I've poured into this mister. This mister is great. I just pump it up 7 times. And then I can spray. It uses air, pressured air, instead of butane and propellants like the commercialized sprays like Pam. And once that pan is heated up a good amount, I'm going to quickly pour the batter in here, and I just want to get it all evened out. It's just a thin coating, really thin, but you want to pour it in pretty fast and then just leave it. So I'm just going to show you what this looks like. And you'll see the bubbles will come up and the sides will kind of get cooked. But you really just want to let that sit and cook. It's a little hard out. You don't want to touch it, or you're very tempted to go in and spread it around and fix it and everything, but just leave it alone. It'll be fine. The Teff flour is really nice because it holds together nicely. It doesn't crumble. You know, if you tried to do this with some of the other flours, they might crumble and not stay together that well. I use a lot of chickpea flour, and I use this recipe with the chickpea flour as well. And I noticed with the chickpea flour, I need to put in a little olive oil into the batter. And I also need to put some kind of binder, like I use maybe a flax egg or some guar gum. And now I can do anything with this pancake. Once I cook this, I can put some stuff on top and broil it like a pizza. I can fold it. I can pack it with vegetables and other good stuff. I can put hummus on there and vegetables and wrap it up. A lot of options here with these. And you can make them and store them. You can make them, put them in the refrigerator, and you can have them whenever. You can even use them for fruit crepes if you wanted to. You could add a little bit of sweetener, some stevia, and maybe a little orange zest to this. That would be really nice. And then fill it with strawberries or blueberries or whatever you wanted to do. Really want this to be very, very cooked, because if I try to flip it when it's not fully cooked, it's going to be an epic fail. So I don't want to do that. I want to really leave it. Now we're going on a minute and a half, so more like 2 minutes, I would say. And I'm always using a non-metal spatula, non-metal utensils on the cast iron. You can scratch them, and this has a finish to it. It's got an oiled finish, so you can scratch that with the metal, so you don't want to do that. All right, it is ready to flip. I want to show you what that looks like. Isn't that cool? All the little holes and all the little air pockets. And this will stay together really nicely, and like I said, it'll bend really nicely too. I'm just making sure this all makes contact. That looks about done. So I'm going to take that off. So we just made this beautiful Teff pancake, and as you can see, it's very pliable. I could roll it up, I can pack this with whatever I want. It's very, very sturdy. It smells heavenly. This is the Teff flour. Again, this is a whole grain. It's one of the smallest grain. I think it is the smallest grain that there is. And it comes in this dark color, and it also comes in white. I don't know this for a fact, but I would assume that the darker color maybe has some more antioxidants, because normally the dark colored grains, if there is a dark and a light, the dark has some more, but whatever you can get, I think is great. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to use it like a wrap. I've got some dandelion greens here, and I'm going to put the dandelion greens, and then I've made some carrot salad. That's my beautiful. This could be a great little lunch. You could bring this, wherever you wanted. You could eat it like that, or you can, use a fork and knife. But I just think it's beautiful. And this tastes so good. I would not do this with too many other grains. Like I said, the chickpea won't fold like this. It'll crack. You really have to kind of play with it, add oil, add guar gum to get it to do this. The brown rice flour does this. I wouldn't use amaranth. Rather, I wouldn't use quinoa flour. Quinoa flour is very bitter. I don't really use it for any kind of bread product, the quinoa flour. I don't really use the quinoa flour very much at all. I use quinoa a lot, the whole grain, but I don't use the flour very often. The amaranth I love. It has a really nice nutty flavor. But this really is the Teff flour is the only flour that's going to, make this nice wrap like this and bend like this. So here you go, bon appetit.